Hello. In today's video, I'm going to talk about several different approaches that I use for hunting down a recipe or making a recipe for various coins I might want to trade. I'm also testing a new screen recorder app that looks like it might be better than the one I was previously using, particularly in the ability of managing audio quality. So be sure to leave a comment below if the audio in this video sounds better than the previous videos. This way I know if I found a better program than what I've had. So let's start with very simply finding a coin. And it could be any coin of any market. So let's go to a coin on an exchange that has a difficult history. So here we are, EOS. Now if you look at, right now I have it default to the 7-minute, which is roughly 24 days or rounded up simply 1 month. Now the very first thing that I need to find out in looking at this coin, is it overvalued or underpriced? So that starts with Range Hunter. Even if I don't use it in the end formula or the end recipe, knowing where the coin sits is important. Okay, let's go through the setup process. Now I'm going to set my boundaries to 6 for buy and 6 for sell. And I'm going to put it in aggressive mode, which is going to look like a hot mess. Okay, it shows 1 buy right there. So this is very much undervalued. Okay, there we go, aggressive mode. Now I already know this is going to produce a large amount of noise. So I'm simply going to turn these off. I'm also going to turn this off because I want to merge it with the chart. Okay, so we're undervalued significantly. So now I need to decide, how do I want to approach this coin? Well, it's undervalued, so that means it's going to be a good coin to trade. So my next step is going to be my DCA module. Same thing with Range Hunter. I want to move it to the main chart. And I want to bring it to the front after I pin it to the price action. Now let's get rid of all the noise. All the stuff that's important, but not when I'm trying to figure out exactly how and what I want to trade. Now, the profit boundary, I want to thicken that up. I want to see the various lines clearly. The cyan line is when it's not in a trade. It's there for older versions of TradingView and for the markers for the mathematics. So I'm just going to hide it. Okay, here we go. Short, sweet, and simple. Now let's select Range Hunter signal line and historic data only. Now I'm not going to touch any of the rest of this. I'm just going to look at it as it is right now. And we can hide Range Hunter and actually see not bad. For EOS this is pretty good, but it looks like it's in a pretty long channel. Let's confirm this. Okay, not too bad. From the 23rd down to today. But still, that can be something to take into mind as you are working on this recipe. Now, this is a fairly docile recipe right now. Let's step it up. Let's move to price action so I can move to average deviation. Okay, now that we have this, we see clearly this is a hot mess. 940 trades. But we see that it does well with lowering the price. Now let's move it to a flat take profit. Let's see how quickly it can get out of a mess. It actually does pretty good, but this is just insane. This is way too high for my liking. That's basically $2,700 or just shy of $2,800. Not necessarily something I want to invest in this coin. So here we have a very good and strong, and you see this run was a headache. Now let's put this in context of Range Hunter. And we see why this run was such a headache. So now we have a reasonable starting point. Next we need to determine, do we want to go with trend, momentum, volatility? How do we want to scale this down? Perhaps we might want to use convergence and divergence. And I think actually that is going to be the approach I want. Convergence and divergence with the MACD module. Now you can use the step method, which is what I do on several coins. Step method for the DCA and just let this slowly tick away and do some great profits. But I want something a little more skilled or a little more refined. I want to use price averaging as my deviation boundary. The step method uses the price action as part of its deviation. I don't want that in this case. I want to hone this in to be much more specific. Okay, now I'm going to make this slightly aggressive in using prime numbers. You don't have to do this. I just prefer it as part of my process. So there is MACD, buying and selling. So now let's link it into Range Hunter. So, and now Range Hunter. And now I want to link the DCA module to MACD. Okay, we have a couple of good sells. We have a max buy rate of 79. We've scaled it down quite a bit. So let's temporarily hide Range Hunter and get an idea of what we're looking at with the chart. This is still too many in one run. I don't want to follow this mess all the way down in this manner. Now I can use some extended deviation approaches, and that might look something like this. Let's start with a 4% deviation and end with a 24% deviation. Okay, that took us back up to 186. And we are 16% below average here. So we could use, actually let's take profit, put it in the wrong place. It does help when you're in the right place. So let's try this again, this time in the right place, the deviation. Okay, so we're at 6%, or excuse me, 13 trades now. And we are channel locked, it looks like. But we have some pretty good profits. So this works well. But again, using this approach is not that different than being channel locked by the step method. I want to try to not be in a channel for so many days, the way this is. So let's put this back to the default of 2-2. And let's see if we can add a volatility indicator. Let's go with Bollinger Bands. Now let me emphasize, I don't know exactly where this is going to go. This is pretty much how I actually do my recipe development. I think about what I want, and then I think about what might hit the mark appropriate to how I want to proceed. Okay, so let's turn off the signal line. Now I'm going to set up Bollinger Bands before I link it, because I'm going to use a method that I know works very well. I'm going to put the upper median to EMA, lower median to EMA, and I'm going to use an upper-lower look back of 89. Now, I'm going to turn the chart on, and I want to use a split channel for volatility, high-low. So I want to filter out as much of the standard stuff as I can and only attract the volatility level. Highest levels of volatility when the market really changes. So now let's link this to MACD. Here we are, the MACD signal line. And now let's link the DCA module to the Bollingers. Okay, now we've reduced a lot. Now we've got a good look of volatility, and we have a good convergence-divergence spectrum, and we can see exactly where the price is. How does the price relate compared to where it should be? Around the median. This looks good. This looks consistent. And this is certainly much better than what it was. Okay, let's expand this a little. See if we can get the numbers. 1 purchase per cycle. It does 10 cycles per month, and it does reasonably well. This is actually a very good recipe for my risk assessment, because I can trade a coin that usually has a very difficult history with very minimal impact. I like this. So now that we have a clear reference, well, first let's turn off Range Hunter and really see the chart. Not bad, very good. How does it do? Well, it looks like it doesn't stay in a trade very long. This is roughly 3 days. That's not too bad and fits my risk assessment. It stayed out of this whole mess. Sold off way over here, and it waited until it got to here. I like that. Okay, picked up a double accumulation. Actually, no, I take that back. Single only. Picked up, sold, dropped, picked up, and sold. This is actually nice. Nice little short run right here. Another short run. Another short run. I can definitely see this going places. I actually like where this is going, actually. Nice and simple. Okay, so I'm going to save this chart. Don't want to lose this. So within a matter of minutes of just visually looking at what I wanted and talking my way through the process, thinking out loud, as you might say, I've come up with a system that, well, quite honestly, I like. So let's see how it does on lower quality coins that Binance offers. Well, first we're going to do some of the good ones, but then we're going to get into some of these lower ones. Okay, 4 purchases per cycle. That's still reasonably well. And we see the charts here. Let's hide Range Hunter for a moment. It stays a little longer in a trade than I'd like, but it's ADA, and I have a partial favoritism for ADA anyway, so I can live with this. Looks like it does pretty good here. And it looks like the trades aren't that bad. It still has 4 accumulations per cycle. Not too bad. Low quality coin. Looks like its maximum right now is 6 per cycle. Not bad. $100 limit for this coin. I can see this working out well. In fact, let's put an exit position in right now. Let's lock this in. Okay, exit. 10 positions. There we go. So, I have decided right off the bat, right here, $100 is it for my personal investing. Technically 111, but still it's within what I want. So if this recipe goes over or hits the 10th position, it's out. Done. Period. I take a loss. I wait to get back in at the bottom. And it looks like it does a very good job finding the bottom. That can be a difficult coin to deal with, but it's still within the safe boundaries. Another difficult coin, Beam. This coin can break anybody. And there it is, 10 max positions. So let's see the exit pointer. Okay, it actually got out. So it got out right at the last straw. Let's double check that I put the number in the right location. And the right placement. Exit point 10. Yes, I did. This one went right to the line. Wow. Right to the line, and then it got out. Talk about close. But it actually pulled it off. Okay, let's see. There's the exit point. There's the breaker. So it got out, got back in, sold a profit, got back in, accumulated, sold a profit. So it still pulled off a profit even though it got out early. Okay. And it's not a bad profit either, considering. Here's another coin that is difficult to work with. Now, you don't have to stay strictly at just 10 exit positions. If you have a budget that can handle more, by all means do so. You also don't have to stay at just 2%. Lately, I have been finding a 4% deviation does extremely well. And if we go back to Beam, you see the changes there. You're still going to take exit positions along the way, but this can help you pick and choose the best places and coins. As always, not every coin is going to be a good choice. Some coins aren't. Some coins are just difficult no matter what. And as we can see, Bitcoin, its last entry and exit was on the 23rd. 23rd is when it got out. And it hasn't had a good entry point since. But this is a nice, respectable recipe. I like the fact that it only has 4 purchases per cycle right now. That fits my situation very nicely. My personal risk assessment would do very well on this. So there we have it. Short, sweet, simple, and easy. Before I wrap this up, I simply want to say, think about what you're trying to achieve before you sit down to the computer. Walk and talk your way through the process. That way, as you are working, you can find the approach you want. Think about your budget. How much do you want to risk? That should always be the first thought on your mind. My case is I have $1,200 bottom line for each exchange. This recipe with 10 exit positions lets me comfortably trade $11 coins at $11 per position. This works out well for me and gives me a little extra just in case. It works well for not good quality coins as well as exceptional quality coins. Coins I would never trade, I might consider with this approach. There are a lot of ways to capitalize. Very simple steps. But before you can really understand the capitalization of the steps, you need to understand the direction you want to proceed. My direction for this case, I want only undervalued assets. I want only assets with high volatility. And I want only assets that have a very aggressive convergence or divergence. Now I can slow this down by changing parameters on MACD. I can slow this down by changing parameters on Bollingers. I could even add another layer if I want. All of that does is just give me less trades per cycle. I'm happy with the number of trades these produce per cycle, and it's reasonably consistent with my budget. You can overcook a recipe, which would give you less profits unneeded or unnecessarily. That is going to be one of the biggest and most challenging aspects of any recipe development. Editing what you truly need to make a spot-on recipe. Editing what you truly need to get the best profit with the least amount of risk. As I said in the beginning, this is being recorded on a different piece of software. Let me know in the comments how well the sound is carrying through, and also let me know about the video quality. Because I noticed through editing and through back processing, the previous program did have some blurriness for video quality. If you know somebody that could benefit with this, share this video with them. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, so forth. Until next time.